Facebook and Twitter, reading all that, like a lot of your fan base was starting to hit the panic button.
They automatically do, and that's the thing is the media knows it's going to happen, and it's like, all right now it's nothing. So, hi folks, we're live. How's it all go? How we all doing? I'm hitting the intro.
Hello, it is time to start the show. And I'm going to get started right after this.
Hey, happy Saturday, everybody. We got it's Niners and Seahawks week, right? We're at Seattle to open up the season, which I'm thanking God we don't have like a Thursday night game after another rough game. You know, it's like that seems to have happened the last like 3 seasons as we play you guys Thursday night after we play some sort of contender the week before. You know, that's just how the NFL schedule makers I don't think they like us. But what can you say, right?
Right.
So how you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm so glad football is finally back.
Oh, I
Down to the
know.
real test.
First 2 games have actually happened. You know, we got to see the Cowboys and the Eagles, which kind of makes me think about things like, you know, does Vegas actually run the place? Because they didn't score in the second half, or they had a field goal, I think, right? That was it.
Right.
Like,
Yep.
you know, that was all made me think, Then we saw the the next game in Brazil, the Chiefs and the Chargers. And, you know, the Chargers won it, which I picked the Chargers, folks. I don't have faith. I kind of feel like that Super Bowl was a precursor to what's going to happen this season, and we're not going to see so much refs intervening in Chiefs games. And they're not. I just don't think they're that good of a team. They have some good players, yeah. You know, Mahomes, Kelsey. On the defensive side, they have Chris Jones and, you know, McDuffie. But beyond that, who do they got? You know, it's like that's just how it is, right?
Right.
And, you know, speaking of who do you got, we got David Corona in the chat. What's happening, buddy?
What's up, David?
Bebop Jones, what's cracking, man? Jason, I saw you live with Joe a little bit ago. And, well, I was expecting Bryant to pull up, but maybe he's out getting – I think he had to go to work. That might be why he's not in the chat right now, because he had to go to work. So, and he's driving. So don't be texting and driving, folks. It's not good for
you. No, don't do that.
But, John Jay in the building. What's happening, buddy?
What's up, John Jay?
Well, we're starting off with who's going to be there and who's not going to be there. And so right now we have listed on the injury report, questionable Christian McCaffrey. And he was working out on the side. He didn't practice with the team yesterday, but he was working out on the side. A lot of reporters are saying he looked normal. Mr. Doom and Gloom, who I ain't going to name, I swear he's a Rams fan, was saying, I think he's hurt worse than, you know, he's just doing that to get the attention because from the people that freak out, right? So, you know, Christian McCaffrey, questionable. Doubt out. Now, this is the Seahawks. We're going to switch to the Seahawks because they have out Jake Bobo. Wasn't he like returning the kick and it got, you know, plowed into by like a freight train or something like that?
Yeah, in the last preseason game. Right. Well, I guess
he's out. It says concussion, so, you know, don't rush that back, you know.
Uh-huh.
And linebacker Nwosu, really? He's out with a knee now. That's not surprising because I was actually high on the guy when he was a free agent. Then he signed with you guys. I was like, man, you know. But he's been injured often for you guys, hasn't he?
He has.
So, and then wide receiver, is it Derek Young?
Yeah, Derek Young.
Yeah. What's up with the names these days, Eddie? It's like, you can't just have Jason. It's like Jackson, or it's Jason, or it's like what happened? Like, I'm Dave, folks. Okay. I'm literally the only Dave working in a place with about 70 people working there. It's like, what's happened to names these days? But yeah, Derek Young, hamstring, he's listed as out. They keep talking about Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, I'm not worried about it. He's probably going to suit up. So, did not participate in practice. Of course, we got Yetur Gross-Matos, who's recovering from a knee, and Christian McCaffrey. The limited was Jordan James and Jordan Watkins. Those guys are both, I think they're actually listed as doubtful somewhere on here. Oh, here we go. Full participation in practice. This is all the injuries we got going on, right?
Right.
Elbow. Kalia Davis, groin. Isaac Garindo, shoulder. Bryce Huff, ankle. Wow. Defensive end Bryce Huff, the guy we got from the Eagles. Juwan Jennings, calf. Mac Jones, knee. Sam Okawanu, shoulder. Safety Jason Pinnock, heel. Guard Dominic Pooney, knee. We're already starting the season off on a bad note here. Upton Stout, calf. Defensive tackle CJ West, which is one of my more favorite draft picks we made, knee. Defensive end Mikael Williams, which is the 11th overall pick, knee. And Trent Williams, not injury related, resting because he old AF. He is.
There's nothing wrong with just resting.
Anthony Bradford, back. Torrey Horton, ankle, and Cody White, shoulder. Those are all. Oh, this is you.
Yeah.
So did not participate. Derek Young, limited. Jake Bobo and Nwosu, and full participation in practice. Anthony Bradford, back. Torrey Horton, ankle. Cody White, shoulder, and Tariq Woolen, illness. It's not quite that time of year to the point where it's like the flu's rolling around yet, but you never know.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
This is why, folks, like people at work, they've never noticed this. I don't do this. You won't see me doing that. I do not put my hands to my face. I trained myself during when that one thing COVID came out to not put my hands to my face until after I wash them. And you don't get sick. Go figure.
Yeah, especially especially at market when when you have chemical on your hands, it's like you need to wash your hands right away. Yeah, and when I go to the gym, it's like when I get done spraying the machine, like I go wash my hands right away.
Oh yeah. So I have all the your roster's gone through some changes. You guys are getting young. You're kind of rebuilding, right?
Right.
So, is there any players like I know tight end Arroyo? I actually did like him coming out of the draft. But is there any young players you're looking at like these guys could make a difference? 1 or 2 year, second year guys, right?
Yeah. I can see a wide receiver, Torrey Horton, being a stud on the field.
They did trade DK Metcalf and let Tyler Lockett go for a reason. You got Smith and Jigba, and then they signed Cooper Kupp, but that's like at this point in his career, that's a good depth piece, and And I was thinking that they must have like a young player there that they really like, or they wouldn't be letting both those guys go, right?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, Tyler Lockett had like one more year left in him.
He is
Yeah,
getting older. He signed with the Tennessee Titans, and they're not exactly expected to do a lot.
and tell you the truth, for DK Metcalf, like I wasn't really shocked that we traded him, but I think I think it had to do with like Mike McDonald was just like not wanting to put up with his shenanigans on the field.
Yeah, that could be it too. They traded him to the Steelers. He's got Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin's going to tell him the STFU. It's like that would be something. That's an interesting storyline to watch throughout the season. Is Metcalf versus Tomlin?
Okay,
But
and then when I was watching you guys last year, was it that Monday night against the Lions? It's like you had that one guy, Devondre Campbell. Like I think it was in like the second half, he just flat out walked out on you guys and said he's done.
yeah. Well, we started Greenlaw, and Greenlaw was having issues, so we yanked him out of the game. Then we literally put D Winters in over him. That guy was just out of position, banged up. I think it had a lot to do with bad coaching last year, is why he was always out of position. And then it's like, all right, buddy, we need you to go in, and he's like, no, I'm not going to go in. It's like, if you didn't plan on going in, why didn't you tell them before the game so they could have brought in a practice squad guy, someone that's actually going to suit up and go in? That was like straight up a waste of an active roster spot for a game.
It
And
was.
that's when John Lynch said, "Say what?" Like grabbed him by the ear, walked him to the locker room, and said, "Get your stuff and get out. You won't be back." Essentially, all that came out later. But I know that's what John Lynch did. He walked him to the locker room and said, "You won't be back. Either way, you ain't playing for us again." But Bebop, we got a question in the chat. He wants to know who your X factor is tomorrow. Like, is there a player that stands out to you that's going to make an impact?
I think it's gonna be Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yes, he's a good wide receiver. I mean, is he like Justin Jefferson? Not yet. You never
Not
know.
yet,
Still young. He could get close to that level, right?
right?
But it's like a lot of people are talking like Sam Darnold. Yeah, he's a bridge quarterback. All right, folks. This is why Seattle signed him. They needed a bridge quarterback, and instead of trading up and taking one of these and taking like Shador Sanders or whatever, they took Jalen Milroe, right?
Right.
And he is raw. He is kind of a project. So there's a reason they have Sam Darnold, because you got to develop this kid for a season or two before you put him out there.
Yep.
If every team did that, there would be a lot less first round busts. There really would be, because these guys don't get a proper chance. You put them on, like the teams that are picking up there for a reason, because they suck. And you're putting this young quarterback out there on a team that sucks. And what are you expecting out of the guy? You expecting him to carry the team? I mean, it's his first year in the league. Quarterbacks do take time to develop. There is always that rare case where someone comes in and just blows away the other guys and makes the fan base question the coach on why they didn't start him to start with. Brock Purdy. But it was funny. His rookie year, like he came in and played some garbage time, and I was on with Wolf, and I was like, Purdy that was not Purdy. Like it was his first actual like in-game action though. But they Shanahan actually told Jed York, I think the best quarterback we have is Brock Purdy. Like at the end of preseason, it's like, then why are you're starting Trey Lance? Like, okay, so you think Brock Purdy is the best quarterback, but you're starting Trey Lance. Make that make sense, okay? Then you bring in Richard Garoppolo, after him, so you're still leaving the guy you think could be the best quarterback on the roster on the bench. Eventually he started starting games, and everyone was like, "Oh, like he came in that first game." I was like, "Yeah, it's his first game. I'm not going to annoy him yet." And then he played out the rest of the season, and it was like we were rolling. We went into Philadelphia rolling, and that dude yanked his elbow and freaking messed up his tendon, Yeah, that, I honestly think it would have been a great storyline. Mr. Irrelevant wins the Super Bowl his rookie season. Like that would have been a great storyline for the NFL, but it happens, right?
Yeah, 'cause I remember watching that game. It was like when Brock Purdy like hurt himself, like it was like, and then you had to put your fourth stringer, was it Josh Johnson, and
Yeah,
then he
he
gets
got
hurt.
knocked out. Then he got knocked out, concussion. So it was like, then we had to put the one-armed quarterback, Brock Purdy, who couldn't actually throw the ball in, just to hand the ball off. It's like we went through 4 quarterbacks that year. I was the whole time I'm going, who's our emergency quarterback? Like, put him in there.
It's like you're gonna have to get another quarterback off the streets.
Well, if we would have won that game, we would have had to. And it's like you're getting a quarterback off the street to go against the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That just doesn't sound like that would go well, Well, back then, now it's a different story. I don't think they're going to be what they used to be. There is no Tyreek Hill. There is no, they have Rashid. What was it?
Rashid, right?
Rashid Rice. I keep calling him Rashid, but Rashid Rice, but he's out for 6 games.
Oh yeah, suspended 6 games.
That's right. They suspended him. And now you're talking like the guy they traded up in front of us to get in the 2024 draft, Xavier Worthy, got took out by Travis Kelce yesterday. That was, unfortunate. But I honestly I don't think they're that good of a team. I just don't, and the refs, I did not see the refs helping them out. We're supposed to be talking about the Chiefs, well, the Seahawks and the Niners, but I watched that game. I watched that game. I did not see the refs helping them out. I saw they let both teams play pretty much. They did call the obvious penalties, which they should, but they didn't call stupid ticky-tack stuff. Oh, Chiefs get the first down because this guy was trying to check this guy's oil at the bottom of the pile or whatever, like folks that do high school wrestling, they know what I'm talking about. They'll get the reference.
Yeah, that's it. Take it.
Red Zone, what's happening, buddy?
Yeah, because I saw on one of you guys on your team, I think he said, Demarcus Robinson, like he suspended the first 3 games for you guys. And and then when you guys took him from the Rams, it's like he really should have served this suspension with them and not you guys.
Yeah, that's true, man. You know what? Filthy Casual brings up a good point. The Super Bowl slump from the loser, right? They are looking tired and more injured. You're not lying.
You ain't lying right there.
Real, but what'd you drink? Did you drink enough water last night, Steve-O? Like, okay. But so in this game, I'm looking at it like it's the first game of the season. Anything can happen. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you don't know what you're going to be, but the thing we've mostly improved on is our coaching staff. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
huh?
'Cause I
Oh,
guess he's because
oh,
I see the Jets were just like see the Jets let him go.
Robert Sala, and they also let their we took their special teams guy too. So we have two new coordinators in the house. We have new assistants all over the place. But honestly, I think we upgraded our coaching staff, which last year that was a big issue. Nick Sorensen, our defensive coordinator, he didn't look like he knew what he was doing. Like D Winters, this guy is a prime example of good coaching. Last year, he's out of position. He physically, the guy's got the tools to be a great linebacker in this league. He's super fast, decent size, but the coaching was lacking, and he was always out of position, and he was trying to make up for it and get himself back in position, and that's where he would get dinged up. That's where those little injuries happened. So this year he has great coaching because Salah's a fantastic linebackers coach.
Yes.
And now, here it is. D Winters is all of a sudden looking like a stud, Our rookie Nick Martin's another prime example. His first game, he was missing tackles. He looked like a cut candidate in his first game. I'm not gonna lie. But then the next two preseason games come along, the guy's like playing like a beast, Tatum Bethune, our second-year linebacker, was also looking really good. Depth chart has some guy I've never heard of actually starting. So that's another thing. I don't honestly we play a lot of nickel, and that's going to put the rookie Upton Stout in there, who I call the Chihuahua, Eddie. You know why?
Yeah.
Because neighbor's Chihuahua is mean as hell, and the guy's not very big, but he has a 37.5-inch vertical. He can jump. So he's not big, he's small, but he's going to be able to play with the big receivers, right?
Right.
But he's also our nickel. So it's not like, he's going to be playing in the slot. It's not like those guys typically are very big.
Yeah. So how do you guys feel about your off-season moves?
I think it was something that needed to happen. Because all we're doing is getting older, and we're getting these guys that have been in the league many years. Yeah, but they're getting injured, they're missing time, we're paying way too much for them. Like Hargrave is a prime example, and like Debo even. We give him his humongous contract. All of a sudden, it's every other year he has a good season. It's like, no, bro, you're getting paid that much. You need to have a good season every year. And
yeah,
but yeah, we needed to get younger. We needed to upgrade our run defense because our run defense totally sucked last year. And a lot of that has to do with, we were on, defensive tackles off the practice squad. We're using guys off the street, and you had Fred Warner and Devondre Campbell in there, playing, and then D Winters was always dinged up. He'd come in for some time, he'd get out. Tatum Bethune was actually hurt most of the year, so he didn't hit the field much. But linebacker wise, we were very thin. Defensive tackle wise, we were very thin. But this year, that's vastly changed. We drafted Alfred Collins, who's a big guy. He's a big guy, 6'6", 332. He's just got to work on getting his pad level low, and he'll be all right, And then we drafted C.J. West, who's like, I think he's like 6'2", pushing 320. He's like 317. But C.J. West, pass rush wise, was looking better than Alfred Collins. But we got Alfred Collins in there to be the immovable force. so the linebackers can do their job. We didn't get him for pass rushing, you know. And then, you know, we bring in Mikael Williams. You know, we cut Leonard Floyd, which Leonard Floyd was a high motor guy. He would get a lot of like coverage sacks. You know, it's just one of those things. You know, we need a true defensive end that can set the edge and, you know, play against the run. And that's what Mikael Williams is. You know, that's what Yetur Gross-Matos actually is. And, you know, but then we bring in the situational pass rusher, Bryce Huff. That's pretty much what he is for us. You know, he's going to be a second and third and long type of guy. You know, that's when we're going to see him out there because he's a speed rusher. So, honestly, I think our defense has done some serious upgrading when it comes to the front seven. Our safeties, I mean, I really liked how the rookie Sigel looked, but I'm hearing that they're going to be starting Jair Brown and Pinnock. But I don't know. I mean, games tomorrow. We'll see who starts, right?
Right.
Our corners, I feel like we're actually pretty solid there with Lenore, you know, Renardo Green starting the outside, Upton Stout, you know, as the slot. And then if we have to bring a fourth one in, Chase Lucas, this guy that we've had for 2 years, was looking really good. And yeah, y'all remember me talk about how we had poor coaching last year.
Yep.
That's another prime example of that, you know. So, I mean, defensively, yeah, our team is vastly different, but we should be better. We got young and hungry, you know. How are you feeling about your team? Your defense was actually looking kind of stout at the end of last year, weren't they?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad we got, what was it, DeMarcus Lawrence from the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, then, like, you remember the whole, like, DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons beef going on Twitter. But I will say it was quite entertaining. But and the Rams let go one of their draft picks, like Chris Paul Jr. from, was it, Ole Miss? And then next thing we pick him up and sign him to our practice squad. It's like Rams already don't like to keep anybody.
Well, then you have to pay them, right? You know,
Right.
they had that year where they had to reset their freaking salary cap, you know, from trading for everyone's stars and overpaying people. And, you know, since then it's been like they're throwing, I think, 45, 50 million a season, somewhere in that range at Stafford. And then this guy has a bad back. You know, backs don't get better.
I think this is his last year in the NFL.
I honestly, you know, getting an epidural just so you can play, you know, that's like, wow, bro. What happens when one of these 300 plus defensive linemen freaking hit him? You know, I've heard it's like George Kittle actually described it as being in multiple car accidents. You know, like going through the course of an NFL game and getting hit. That's how he describes it. You know, so it's like, how's that back actually going to hold up? You know, he's a good quarterback. When he's in there, the Rams are a very tough team. You know, will he hold up for the whole season? We'll see.
We'll see.
I just hope they don't end up with James in there, because then Devontae Adams might just retire on the spot. You know?
I tell you the truth, I could see that happening. That's why I'm begging when we play the Rams at week 11, to, like, please start them against us. Please start James against us.
Oh, I know, right? Please. That's what our defense is probably hoping he does. But we'll see what happens. You know, maybe Stafford will hold up. You know, make the Rams will be a tough team. But so what are the expectations for each of your team's O-lines tomorrow? Well, I'm kind of hoping Brindle gets pulled and they put Matt Hennessy in because he's about the weakest link in our offensive line. But beyond that, I just expect them to run block and give Brock Purdy 2.5 seconds to get that ball out. That's all he needs. So
Yeah. I saw a little clip of Jake Brendel. It's like, okay, like you know how he's supposed to be blocking, right? Because like he just stands right there and just watches the plays go. And, like it doesn't do his job.
that's what he does a lot. There's many times where, like last year, the team is just overloading the right side, and you have old Dominique Pooney over there literally blocking two guys. You know, Colton McKivitz is going up against a speed rusher. That's his weakness there, right? But
Right?
but he's even got two guys coming at him. You know, and what's Jake Brindle doing? He's got one hand on the guy the left guard has more than handled. It's like, bro, how do you not see them overloading the right side and know that you better go help? How do you not see that? You know, and I don't get it. Like, you know, we did bring Matt Hennessy in, who's an NFL veteran. You know, he was the starter before what was it? Drew Dahlman took over in Atlanta, and he signed with the Bears. But I think he was drafted the year before Drew Dahlman, so he was a starter over there for that time. Then Drew Dahlman came and took his job, and you know, we have a rookie practice squad guy that couldn't crack the 53. So at this point, it's like, you know, he is the biggest weak link in that line. We have a guy, Ben Barch, which he's talking about his elbow. Ben Barch actually has an injury history. If somehow he stays healthy and plays how I know he's capable of playing, we'll have a legitimate left side there. Then we'll have Dominique Pooney on the right, blocking two guys, because that he did that so much last year. That guy's a beast. Colton McKivitz, that's half the reason why we signed that tight end, Farrell. Because he's one of the best pass blocking, you know, tight ends in the NFL in 2024. He's like number 3. So he's going to be over there helping out McKivitz. But that also frees up George Kittle to run routes, because George Kittle won't have to do that anymore. So there's multiple reasons we signed that guy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he does. Ben Barch does have an injury history. So if he's able to hold up, we'll have a really good left side.
Yeah, because I looked at your receivers. It's like, are we only just mainly going to see like with Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall?
Probably. You know, Jordan Watkins is another guy, but he's recovering from a high ankle sprain. So I kind of doubt we'll see him this week, probably next week. You know, that's a rookie, though. Jacob Cowing's out for 6 weeks with a hamstring. You know, apparently he has a partial tear in his hamstring. And then, you know, of course, you have Ayuk, who I don't know if we'll even see him this year. You know, that's a type of situation you're stuck with a contract on that one, you know. But yeah, pretty much Jennings, Purcell. You know, we do have Valdez Scantling. I mean, no, he's a death piece at best, you know. But they actually cut and re-signed Russell Gage, I think. But all these guys I'm talking about are like practice squad, you know, guys that didn't actually make the team, you know. So wide receiver wise, I honestly expect you're going to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey going into the slot. Let's be honest here.
So we won't be seeing probably won't be seeing him running the ball too much.
Well, you probably will be seeing him run the ball some, but you're going to see him swing out and play like slot wide receiver. Probably see Garendo do that too, one of our running backs, because he's a wide receiver turned running back. So, but then that's why we traded for Robinson from the Commanders. Is I mean, look at our wide receiver situation. You know, we could swing out. We have
Yeah.
2 running backs. We can swing out to the slot. So, you know, that'll help fill the holes there, right?
Right.
Ooh, now this is what we're talking about. Or we don't have wide receiver depth right now. As the season goes, you know, we'll get, you know, Jordan Watkins back, and he actually looked really good as a rookie in preseason and training camp. And then eventually we'll get Cowing back, who was also looking good before his injury. You know, I'm not counting on Ayuk to do anything. I'm just not. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I heard he might be back week 6 or week 7.
that's what they're saying, but it's probably going to be more like week 8 or 9. You know, let's be honest here.
Yeah, because you can't rush ACL injuries.
And you know, well, obviously we have a Seahawks fan in the building saying that y'all are going to smack us in the mouth.
Well, we got to play the game first.
That's exactly it. You know, old Joe Stevens was saying either the Niners are going to blow us out or it's going to be a close game and we're going to win. That's what Joe Stevens' opinion was on that. I don't know. I mean, Brock Purdy is undefeated in Seattle, which I was surprised to actually see that. He's like 3-0 or whatever. I was honestly surprised. I was like, really? He is? But you know, that's playing with, you know, a guy like more depth at wide receiver than we currently have. So I expect us to be running the living crap out of the ball, you know. And you guys did try. You're trying to improve that run defense over the offseason. And it wasn't a terrible thing late in the season last year. So this could end up being a back and forth affair, you know, where it is going to be a close game. Could come down to a Jake Moody field goal, and I give that a 50-50. You know, because pressure situations, the kid hasn't necessarily proved it yet. But at the same time, he did beat the Raiders on a 59-yarder in preseason. But that's preseason. That's not a regular season game, so the pressure is different, right?
Yeah, because I was talking with David Corona about that. Because like it could come down to like one of us kicking a game-winning field goal, or we score a go-ahead touchdown. Yeah,
Laughing at this.
yeah. Because I was told like number
kind of right
Jake
now.
Moody has to practice those kicks. Because
I mean, you know, if Juwan Jennings' calf is actually good, Ricky Purcell looked really good the last couple games. So we might have 2 wide receivers right now, but the rest of the group, it's like, who's that? You know, that's just how it is right now. We do have George Kittle, you know, so maybe we'll see him out there in the slot. But yeah,
I wish I was going to the game tomorrow.
I mean, when it comes to us, the young players on defense seem to come around quicker than the guys in the offense because Shanahan has a complicated offense. So it takes the wide receivers, running backs. It takes these guys more time to learn the playbook and come around there. You know, offensive linemen, it's a little bit it's a little bit easier because it's like a zone blocking scheme. You know, but wide receivers and running backs and tight ends, it's like you might as well plan on just sitting a year. I mean, after week 3, it gets a little easier. We get that veteran Demarcus Robinson. We get him back from suspension. So then all of a sudden we have, 2 or 3 wide receivers instead of just 2. Right?
Yeah.
And someone asked about your guys' wide receiver issue. So Jake Bobo has a concussion. And what was that other guy's name? He's
Torrey Hart. Oh, the other guy that you mentioned. Derek Young.
Yeah, he's going to be out. And I mean, they have Torrey Horton. I mean, Torrey Horton's just unknown. They have unknowns going on. We have guys that are pretty much like fourth or fifth, on the depth chart wide receivers going from number 3 back right now. So you might actually be in a better situation wide receiver wise as a group versus us right now. And this is also true. We are. But our first 4 games, I mean, we got the Seahawks, the Saints. I think we play the Jags. Hold on, let me look this up. This is one of those, if we don't start out 4-0, then we're gonna have a problem. I was looking at our schedule going, dude, we better win those games. Oh, the Cardinals, yep. Yeah, so we play the Seahawks, Saints, Cardinals, and the Jags. Then it's on to SoFi and the Rams for a pretty much a home game because their fans don't show up.
They don't.
But I mean, yeah, it's like week 1, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that is true. It's the same any given week. Because I'm looking at my next opponents after this one. Because we got after you guys, and we got the Steelers, then we got the Saints, and then the Cardinals.
And we don't. So he was on the practice field working out yesterday. Is he injured? I mean, this is why we traded for Robinson, the running back from the Commanders. We don't have running back depth issues. Okay, so this is on Vivid. So this was reported by Vivid Ticket Sales. It's not including like Ticketmaster and, the not sponsored YouTube and the other places that sell tickets. So we don't know how accurate that's going to be. We're just going to have to see when the game starts.
Yeah, because you've been seeing that and all. Told everybody, don't believe what you hear on social media. Yeah, because I read they sent a little message to all the Seattle Seahawks ticket holders. It's like they get caught doing that, they'll lose their privilege of having season tickets.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I just got someone knocking at my door, Eddie. If you got something you want to talk about, now's the time. Well, game wise, like who's your new coach? Who's your new head coach? Like, how do you feel about your coaching staff?
Well, Mike McDonald. Yeah, so far, like I was shocked we won 10 games last year, but didn't make the playoffs because there were a couple of games that we should have won. I mean, we really should not have lost to the Giants. Should have beat the Rams the first time in Seattle. But instead of like having Geno Smith go for it on we're in the red zone, it's like 4th and 1. It's like in overtime. You need to take the points and then next and give the Rams hopefully some bad field position.
And like your head coach, he come from the Ravens. He was that defensive coordinator, right? That
Right.
In 2023 put a fantastic game plan together against Brock Purdy. He did. He put a fantastic game plan against him. It's like, so head coach wise, I think you guys are good to go there. It's just building the proper team is what you guys are in the process of.
Yep.
And I mean, with some good young pieces here and there, which you could have, you drafted this year, you're going to have next year's draft. I mean, I'm honestly thinking next year, maybe the year after Jalen Milroe gets to develop some, you guys might really be. You guys are going to be a problem. You know, I do like Jalen Milroe. I watched a lot of tape on him when I was doing the draft process, and I was looking at him like he's just really he needs good coaching. Good coaching and development time. You got to be patient with this guy. You can't just throw him to the dogs.
No, kind of like what Brett Favre did with Aaron Rodgers. Remember, he sat behind him for like 2 years.
He did. So, I mean, Sam Darnold, bridge quarterback. There's a reason why the Vikings did not re-sign him. And yeah, you could say J.J. McCarthy, but do you really think a rookie quarterback's going to stop them from re-signing a quarterback they think could be the future? Mm-mm. So obviously, they weren't very impressed with Sam Darnold, but he'll get you by for a season or two while your quarterback develops, though.
Yeah, it's always good to let them learn.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people I've heard of talk like Jalen Milroe's the next Lamar Jackson. I wouldn't necessarily go that far yet. I mean,
I wouldn't go that far yet either. Just like when we took when we took Byron Murphy, like people called him the next Aaron Donald, and like we got to pump the brakes right there too.
Yep. Well, you got anything else you want to add before the game? I mean, before we get on out of here, start our Saturday.
Okay, now what are your keys to winning this game?
My keys to winning this game is run the ball, and I mean, CMC, he might be limited in the game, but that's why we have Robinson. That's why we have Garindo and Jordan James, which Jordan James fits our system so well, it's not funny. But, we have 4 guys that can go in there. We're known for getting a running back off the streets, putting them in there and watching them produce. So, but run the ball. I don't think you can't rely on the passing game. Eat clock, score touchdowns. Like our red zone offense was horrible last year. So if we can't take advantage of the opportunities when we get down there, we're not going to win the game.
Okay. All right, because I mean, I'll share my keys to win for my Seahawks winning. If we cannot get a lot of penalties, if we can just get a good running game started early, or like wide receivers can get things going there. If I want Kenneth Walker to get over 100 yards plus in the game, then it would be like a long day for your defense.
Mm-hmm. Well, our defense, I'm honestly with Saleh back, and the coaching changes he's made, I'm so not worried about defense. I'm more worried about my offense. And I should be worried about defense because all the rookies on there, right? But that's how it was in 2019. We had a bunch of young guys. Yeah. So, but we had Saleh too. So, and Papa J brings up another thing, special teams, right? That's another key. Because last year, our special teams coverage unit sucked to the point where we were ranked 32nd. There's only 32 teams in the NFL, folks. You can't get worse. So, that was our coverage unit. And our return unit, I mean, overall, our special teams was literally ranked 32nd. We've had a big personnel changeover in all the guys that are going to be playing on special teams and a big coaching, pretty much the whole special team staff has been redone. So here we are, the way I look at it is you can only get better. But if I'd be happy with middle of the pack because that's a vast improvement, you know. I would. I'd be happy with middle of the pack. But Papa J is talking about special teams. Isaac Garindo as a kick returner. That guy is the dangerous kick returner. This is the running back that was a wide receiver turned running back in college, right? He played wide receiver pretty much his whole career until he got into college. Started out as a wide receiver and then switched to running back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that guy, 6'2", 220, 225, runs a 4.3 40. That's our kick returner. Dangerous if you can find a hole. I'll say that right now. Right?
Right.
And this is also true, filthy casual. We did lose a few close games because especially one of the Rams games, especially. We can't be getting swept by those guys again. That'll be disgraceful. I'll be doing my podcast with a paper bag on my head. Gammon, what's cracking, buddy? All right. So what about you? Like, I mean, you know, your defense was looking good last year. You made a couple additions, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
I think you drafted Greg Zabel out of the small school.
Yep.
To help out your offensive line. Do you think your offensive line is going to be better? Because I remember last year they were kind of hit and miss.
I'm gonna say like maybe just a little bit better. Is like long as Sam Darnold doesn't hold the ball too long.
And he's got a bad habit of that, man. He does. And he'll see like a wide receiver running when it's not actually a wide receiver, it's a defensive back. So I was wondering at times is the guy colorblind? You know, maybe he can't identify what uniform's on a guy, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. We call him the seeing ghost person.
Well, he shouldn't have. He kind of brought it on himself in that press conference when he says, "Yeah, I was seeing ghosts." He had a bad game for the Jets. He threw a lot of interceptions. He kind of brought it on himself when he said that.
Well, because I know last season like. Didn't really see ghosts when he was starting with the Vikings.
That's true, but you have Jordan Jefferson, you have Addison, you have what is it, Hawkinson? They're tight
TJ
end.
Hawkinson.
He's pretty good. Yeah, he's a pretty good tight end. And then you have Aaron Jones in the backfield. I mean, that's some serious weaponry for Sam Darnold to have. And that defense they have, their pass rush is legit. Like,
it is. Because I was watching film on him last year, like, because remember when he beat us, you guys, and the Cardinals. Because the only person he lost to was the Rams, like, because I think our last time when we faced him, like, it was a back and forth game between us and the Vikings.
Well, we haven't won in Minnesota since I think it was 1992. If I remember, I would have to look it up. That might not be accurate, but it's close, folks. We haven't won in Minnesota since the early 90s. So there's like, I don't know if just the hotel staff, like, drugs all the players. Who knows, right? Like,
uh-huh.
It's like switch hotels, But all right, Eddie. If you got nothing else, we can get on out of here and start our Saturday.
Well, I think that's it for now.
Sweet.
Say good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, good luck to you, man. I hope it's a good game and we end up winning on a Jake Moody field goal because just just to shut the fan base up. He's not that bad of a kicker. He hit 85% accuracy in the preseason. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not bad. So, but yeah, honestly, that's how I hope it's a close game that has me wanting to yell at my TV, which I don't really yell at my TV. So, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, rival games are always going to be the close ones. Cause especially after what we saw in yesterday's and the Thursday night game. Because it's like Eagles and Cowboys. Like, I expected them to win that by like 2 touchdowns. And
Yeah,
like me yesterday, I had to be realistic and pick Kansas City.
I picked
Yeah,
the Chargers, buddy, just
but
because it's like
I'm glad they lost.
it's their second year under Harbaugh. So, and you know he is a good head coach.
Yes.
So, second year under him, I see them taking a step forward and competing for that division. Someone's got to knock KC off that 9-year straight run, though. You know, that's a them problem, though.
Yeah,
and us problem is probably the Rams.
Yeah, it's going to be a very competitive season for all of us.
It really is. You know, like the Cardinals are talking about our division. The Cardinals should take a step forward because they've been building for a couple seasons now under their new head coach. So if they're going in the right direction, then we should see something out of them this year, right?
Yeah.
I do expect Kyler Murray to still beat the Cowboys at Cowboy Stadium, though. He is undefeated in that stadium. I don't know if anyone ever knew that. Going back to his college days, he is undefeated at Cowboy Stadium. All right, folks, we're getting out of here. Everyone have a great weekend. You know, I'm going to say go Niners. This guy, which I'm pointing the wrong direction, this guy is going to say go Hawks.
Okay, go Hawks.
You know, as Corey Davis says, go Niners and F all 31 other teams.